Video I'll talk a bit about the profit and loss, how to calculate transactions based on financial year. For example, in Australia, the financial year ends 30th of June. And if you're doing a previous year, you would put the previous year financial year end date. Now, when I have the end date here, it will come up with a list of all the transactions up until that I have up to 2022. Now, if we look in our transaction sheet, we can see we've got some transactions in March 2007. So if we're doing, for example, 2007 financial year, the way I would set it up would be by putting the year 2007 first of all. And then if we go to our transactions here, it will only show all the available transactions from 2007. The other thing I would want to do is create a year destination sheet for 2007. So to do that, I will duplicate this sheet. I'll go duplicate and I will rename it 2007. Let's go back to profit and loss. And we choose the 2007, but it won't appear here. So what we need to do, we need to go to capital gains, go to the clear tab and update sheet names. The clear button here, I'll explain this to you. Let's say we have some information. And we've copied the sheet with the information and we want to clear the sheet, we click on clear. And it will go through and clear everything in this sheet. Okay, so now we can pick our 2007. We can go to update and autofill the transactions. So we've picked 2007, so all these transactions are before this date. And we can click on update profit and loss, which will populate this sheet. So let's try that now. And that is all our transactions for that year. And it will show that we made a profit and loss of 2,825 for that year. The other thing I want to show you is, let's go back to transactions. Let's see the next year. We have 2009. So I'll go through and show you how to do the 2009. So what we would do is we would duplicate the sheet and we would rename it to 2009. We will go to clear all the transactions. And we need to update the sheet names because it's a new sheet that we added. The other thing we can do here is we can go and select the previous year. In this case, it's 2007. So if we had any losses to carry forward, they would appear here, which in this case, there is nothing. So let's go back to profit and loss. And let's put the financial year for 2009. So we've updated the year. Let's go to the autofill. And we also need to update the destination sheet for 2009. And in this instance, it has auto-filled everything. And there's 140 units available. So we've got 5 transactions. And I'll go through and I'll explain what this means. So the format is the transactions, which is 5,000, the date, the ticker, and the purchase price. Now, let's do an update here. And if we look into our 2009 year, we can see everything has been updated. And this year's profit and loss is minus 6,600. And if we go to fill again, it will refill with the remaining units. So this says here we've got 140 units remaining. So we had 5,000. We sold everything but 140 units. And we have our sale transaction here of 140 units. So we can do the update again. Now if we go to fill again, there is nothing to fill. So it's all empty. So let's go back to transactions. And we can see the next year is 2021. So let's duplicate this sheet again. And we made a loss for 2009 of 7,133. So let's duplicate this sheet. And I'll call this 2021. And I will clear this worksheet. And I'll update the sheet names. Now, if I select here 2009 as the previous year, we can see that the capital losses are carried forward. So let's go back to the date, and we need to put 2021. And we see we've got a couple of transactions that appear. So to do this, we need to update the destination sheet, 2021. And we can go to update. And we can go fill. It will be a good time now to show you the batch update profit and loss option. So let's reset this. The batch update will loop through all the transactions for 4 minutes, because that's the limitation of Google Apps scripts. It's around 4 or 5 minutes, depending on the plan that you're on. So let's say instead of us manually entering all the information each time, which isn't a bad thing, we can double check our transactions. We can go to the batch update option, and it will do everything for us. So let me double check all the other settings are default. They are. And let's try it. Let's see what happens. Batch update. So it autofills It updates the spreadsheet, it fills it again, and just loops through. Okay, so once it finishes, it will say, finished in 13 seconds. So a lot quicker than what we could do manually. So if we go to 2021, we have 3 separate transactions here. A little bit about the calculations in this profit and loss. We've got some data here. So we select here the year 2009. Now, if I select the earlier year, for example, we see how the figures change. It actually says we make a profit of 5,228 and our capital gain discount is 5,228 and our free amount that is not taxed is 2,614. However, if we base it on the 2009 year, we have still a loss of 1,905 because our previous year's loss is 7,133. And I have put this in red here just for information purposes, just to show you that if we didn't have losses carried forward, we could have had $5,228 worth of profit to claim as capital gains discount, of which we would only pay half in capital gains. Okay, so let's go do now the last year, which is 2022. Let's go back to our profit and loss. So let's select the year 2022 and let's update the end date 2022 and let's click on batch update this time. And as you can see, as it's looping through, it's giving a running time. It goes rather quick. It might go a bit slower if you have a lot of transactions. So it's got quite a few transactions to update. It's up to 22 seconds, 27 seconds, and finished in 29.5 seconds. So if we go to our transactions, 2022, scroll up, we've got quite a few transactions. So we have 12 transactions in 30 seconds. So that will help a lot. If you have a lot of transactions, just run the batch update, come back after 10 minutes and click on it again if you still have more to do. Last thing I want to show is the summary capital gains tax. So I'll briefly talk about this one. We can now put our years, so for example 2007 and 2009, 2021 and 2022, and it will show us the totals, total capital gains 13,000, total losses, and again we can see here our total profit and loss over the years. So it's just a sum of all these figures, and we can see here we have unclaimed total of 7,600. Also we have our claimed and our discount.